Welcome back to the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. For friendly expert tax advice whenever you need it, come to Donahue Accounting Services, a leading accounting firm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our top-notch accountants strive to help you resolve all your financial and tax issues. Call Donahue Accounting Services today for a free consultation at 513-528-3982 or visit us online at DonahueAccountingService.com. I'm your host, Alex Meacham, former Bearcat basketball player from 1997 to 1999, under the Hall of Fame coach, my guy, Bob Huggins.
And I'm Neil Meyer with the Front Office News.
And I'm JT Smith, editor-in-chief for the Front Office News.
All right, fellas, we are back for another episode. Let's jump right into it. The Bearcats are currently 18-15 after losing in the second round of the Big 12 tournament to Iowa State, 56-76. This is the Bearcat game recap segment, sponsored by Purple Monkey Project. JT, thoughts on the Bearcats' performance at the Big 12 tournament?
Man, we went 1-1. Kind of one of those things where, honestly, the more I think about it, if the Bearcats win those last two games, I think they have a chance to make the tournament. I don't, for some reason, I just feel like because on all the bracketology, they were like the last, if the last 8 out, I feel like they would have messed around and snuck in there for some reason, for some odd reason. But it is what it is, man. But, they played good against West Virginia. No, not West Virginia, my bad. Was that
Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State. Had some decent time, against Iowa State, which is how far did Iowa State make it in the tournament? The Sweet 16?
Sweet 16.
They lost in the Sweet 16? Is that what
No, round 32, if I remember.
32. Okay.
32.
I'm thinking of Tech. Tech made it. What? Elite 8?
Hey, by the way,
8.
that Texas Tech Florida game, if you didn't watch it, man,
that game was so good. If they just make their free throws, they beat Florida.
Well, first of all, and not to make this the topic of discussion, but think about this. I mean, Texas Tech outplayed Florida.
True.
They outplayed them that game. I think Florida has the better roster. Texas Tech had the better team that night.
Yeah.
Big Boy was cooking down low. Woo!
Yeah.
Man, and body skaters. But I mean, have you seen a team for a chance to go to the Final Four, down what they were down, go on an 18-4 run to win a game to go to the Final Four? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a good game, man. You make the free throws, couple iffy calls, but I'll say you make the free throws, you still pull it off. But then dude hit the three, you missed the front end on the 1-and-1 and hit it another three, and the momentum was just gone.
And those threes, man.
Yeah, it was, dude. I mean, it was in his pocket. Pause. It's in his pocket.
That was like some movie shit. That was
some Hoosiers, some old Disney type shit. Yeah,
it's like there's no way they win this game. But anyway, I think it goes to and sorry, JT, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I was actually kind of throwing this back to you in that I think the Big 12 in the NCAA tournament in some ways, has shown really well. Texas Tech could be in the Final Four. Obviously, Houston's in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Did Iowa State, Neil, have an injury?
They had a couple injuries. Keyshawn Gilbert didn't play, and then Taman Lipsey was banged up. Yeah, they had a couple injuries.
BYU made it to the Sweet 16, right?
Yep. And fell.
They showed pretty well, I thought.
Houston looked like arguably it's going to be Houston. That Houston Duke game is going to be tough, but if Houston played the way they did today, it's going to be a fun time next Saturday because Houston could legit win it all.
Yeah, they play with so much. I hate to say this. Sorry to bring this up, but Houston's old school Bearcat basketball, man. That's that grit, that toughness, man. It's that's why I thought that Tennessee game was going to be a little bit better than what it was. Tennessee has that grit too. I was shocked.
Tennessee,
but Houston's grit is because they caught up in the second half. They adjusted a lot better. But I mean, Houston just was punking them, straight just punking them.
Tennessee started 2 of 19 from the field or something like that today.
The whole team, they had 15 points at half.
Yeah, they were.
You know what I'm saying? They just You know what I mean? Yeah, Houston, man. It's gonna be interesting seeing them against Duke because Duke is probably the best team, like top to bottom, probably left. But I don't know. You'll see. Can they match the Houston's heart? Because Houston's gonna block a lot of shots and be there. If they call the game iffy, then Duke could probably win pretty smoothly. But if they let it be a physical game, I don't know.
Plays in the Houston. I mean, first of all, you got 2 good games. You got 4 really solid teams. I think any 4 of those teams has a chance to legitimately win it.
No,
is this
for sure.
The first time that we've seen all 1 seeds in the Final Four in recent years, right?
It's been a while. I think was the last one in Indianapolis? Wasn't there one in Indianapolis that had Wisconsin, Michigan State, Kentucky?
Yeah, that was the Frank Kaminsky years. That was what, 2015?
Was it that? Weren't those all 1 seeds?
I think so. I think that's the last time.
Yeah, that's no. This is a fantastic. I think it's going to be a fantastic Final Four. I think it's going to be 2 really good games. I wish I could be at this one. So, yep. So JT, sorry to steal your thunder on.
You good. You good.
Thoughts on the Big 12 tournament?
Not for sure, man. I just thought, of course, UC needed to have a chance. Just putting themselves in games that they shoot themselves in the foot, man, and just burnt them at the ends while they're in the crown. But I thought they showed solid, but it wasn't enough. They needed a hell of a showing to get where people wanted them to go. That's all.
No doubt. And they kind of gave us a little bit of hope after that Oklahoma State game, the first one. It's like you lose to Oklahoma State, a couple days prior, right? And then you turn around and they played a solid game versus Oklahoma State. And it's like, wait a minute, are we actually going to get that Bearcat basketball team that we expected? Are we going to see them make a run in Big 12? And then Iowa State just proved to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, too, in that first Oklahoma State game of the Big 12 tournament, when you look down at the box score from that, Dylan Mitchell finished with 18 and a career-high 15 rebounds, so he had a huge day. And then Josh Reed went 8 for 12 with the career-high 19 points. And then Day-Day had 21. Dan had 13. So, it's just like we talked about all year when Cincinnati had 3 to 4 guys scoring in double figures and very efficient nights. They were a team that nobody could really mess with. And then on top of it, the way they bounced back versus Iowa State. Now, that Iowa State team was the better team, obviously. But overall, you saw what Cincinnati was able to do when they were clicking on the same page. So it was nice to see them respond with the 20-plus victory over Oklahoma State compared to the 11-point loss they had just days prior.
Yeah, this is the Bearcat Game Recap segment sponsored by Purple Monkey Project. And I know we're going to probably get to this in another podcast in the future, but what the Bearcats need to get out of the portal to perform at a high level next year, because listen, 3 of us know, everybody in Bearcat Nation knows, everybody on Twitter knows that they need to make some adjustments to this roster for next year. And I think, in my opinion, and we don't have to dive too far into this, just get you guys thinking about this, what are our needs? And I think if you look at the teams that are in the Final Four, I think we see some of the things the Bearcats need to be successful moving forward, because JT and Neil, this is next year's the year for Wes. And ain't no way to sugarcoat it, JT.
Nah, you can't dance around that one.
Nope.
We gotta be dancing. That one dance in March, so it can't be no other invitation. It's the only one that's gonna be acceptable to make it smooth. So you wanna say what we need in general? Ask that question? Or you wanna wait?
I want you to wait. I just want to put that out in the stratosphere to be thinking about that. So Neil and JT, there are going to be a lot of kids in the portal, and I'm going to bring that up in a little bit. And I think the Bearcats have to be very strategic. And listen, I was talking to a Bearcat fan about this the other day. We all of us at the beginning of the year were like, this is the team. Wes has the team we've been waiting for. plays, non-conference. Yep. We're all hyped up. We get to the Big 12 regular season, Big 12, 0-4, right? And then, It is what it is. And I think even Wes and his staff started looking like, okay, we made a mistake here. We made a mistake there. We need to go get a guy like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least I think they really, truly know now. You agree with that?
Yeah, I would say that.
I would agree with that.
So I think as they go portaling, that's a word, right? Is that a word?
Like Krogering?
Like going Krogering? I'm going portaling.
Yeah, Krogering, going portaling. Same type vibes.
As they go portaling, they've got to be very strategic with who they get.
Yeah.
And, a Division I coach that I know very, very well told me when he took the job at a Division I school, he said, my goal is to win in 3 years. And once I win in 3 years, my goal is now to get old and stay old. And that's become a popular term in college basketball. And what that means is he no longer is relying on high school players and young players. Like, he's going to the portal and getting established guys, maybe guys that are at a different lower D1 or guys that maybe are at a high D1 that aren't getting the time they need. Boom, want to drop down a bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think we might be to a point where the Bearcats gotta get old. They got to get old next year. So, all right, we don't want to dive too far. We'll sorry to go too far in that world there, in that stratosphere. Purple Monkey Project formed following the tragic loss of 10-year-old Reagan Vanas in May of 2021. Reagan was a ray of sunshine who lit up every room. The Purple Monkey Project is named after Reagan's favorite stuffed animal and seeks to keep Reagan's spirit alive by being a ray of light in the community and promoting random acts of kindness by providing scholarships and other financial support of youth and youth-centered charities in Southwest Ohio. The Purple Monkey Project seeks to pay it forward, all in the name of Reagan. To learn more about the Purple Monkey Project, please visit purplemonkeyproject.org or visit them on Facebook at Purple Monkey Project. This Tuesday at 3 p.m., the Bearcats take on DePaul in Las Vegas at the Crown. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. Let's jump into the Big O segment sponsored by Smart Dog Solutions. In this segment, we cover players to watch and key matchups. JT, we're going to start with you. Who do you expect the big game from?
All right, man. We're going with Jizzle James, man. Leading scorer on the team for the season. Hey, get one more chance to show your skills, man, before the season's over. I'm looking for him to have a good, clean game, low turnovers, 15 plus, get others involved, even if it's just off his scoring. But I'm expecting him to be a leader.
I love it. And you're right. I think we're going to talk about this, but everyone's kind of like, is Jizzle leaving? Is he staying? Is he getting the portal? And what's what? For now, he's here. He's playing for the Bearcats. I think that's a solid pick. I think he's going to, do his best to ball out.
Yep.
Neil, your thoughts?
Yeah, overall for this game, my player to watch, I'm going to go with Dylan Mitchell. And the reason being is just because of Cincinnati having the clear height advantage there. Obviously, when we break down this game, Cincinnati is going to be sitting at the strong hand in this one due to how the roster reconstruction, transfer portal, and whatnot. Obviously, DePaul's roster is kind of depleted heading into this tournament, and Cincinnati is going to be at the upper hand due to the roster construction, transfer portal, and all that aspect. So I'm going to go with Dylan Mitchell. I think he bounces back after having a huge performance in the Big 12 tournament versus Oklahoma State. And in order for Cincinnati to be to have the kind of success they need to in this tournament, it's going to come from a big-time spark from a veteran player like Dylan Mitchell there on the inside. I mean, I think this could be a matchup where Dylan Mitchell could feast on Tuesday versus DePaul. So that's going to be my player to watch for Cincinnati.
Neil, Dylan he's so versatile. Like he can do so many things on the court. And, I think when we see that versus Oklahoma State and we've got other guys that contribute, like you said, this Bearcat basketball team is tough to guard, and it's tough to beat. So, I'm with you. I'd love to see Dylan Mitchell really show his versatilities, rebounding, scoring, covering all those aspects of the game. The Big O segment is sponsored by Smart Dog Solutions. My player is going to be Dan Skillings. So we put those three together. Good game from Jizzle, good game from Dylan, good game from Dan. I think we win the basketball game. And the reason I picked Dan is because on his IG story, he's been saying, man, I'm in the lab, I'm in the gym, I'm working. Have we seen the light, the spark back with Dan Skillings? Because he's had some up and downs this year. The injury coming back, there's times it just didn't seem like he was the same Dan Skillings that preseason was like, hey, I've got one more year and I'm jumping to the league, right? Have we seen, and sometimes having that break. Now, listen, I don't like that the Crown, starts April 1 and the Big 12 tournament. It's just such a large amount of time off. However, did that help a guy like Dan Skillings kind of go and meditate and find a inner fire in him that we've been looking for, that we expected? His IG story tells me he did. So let's hopefully see him, do that on the court. The Big O segment is sponsored by Smart Dog Solutions. Do you have a business that needs better inventory control, production management, or improved accounting control? Outgrown QuickBooks or can't afford NetSuite? Give Lower Bearcat grads Doug and Kathy Jacobs at Smart Dog Solutions a call. They've been in your position and would love to help solve your problems. They can be reached at 513-739-9473 or online at smartdog-solutions.com. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. And ladies and gentlemen, people all around the world, you know what time it is. Our favorite segment, the name game, with our guy, Neil Meyer. Hey, hit him now. Hit him now. Hey. All right, Neil, you didn't know you're just gonna it was just back and forth today. It wasn't sometimes you got some,
Yeah. gotta get that energy back. This storm outside, man, it's not giving me good dancing vibes tonight.
Yeah, that storm. I was driving home and the hotel near where I live, there was like a piece of metal flew off of the hotel sign and it flew across the street. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, it flew across right over my car. Yeah. Not good. Hopefully everyone out there is safe. I know electricity probably is going to be a little sketchy all over the Natty, but this is the name game with Neil Meyer, sponsored by Oakley Greens. Now, this is where we look at the team that the Bearcats play. In this case, it's DePaul. We look at the name of the, players on the roster. Sometimes they're funny names. Sometimes they're cool names. And there's just, some names we just got to talk about. So let's look at DePaul's roster. Neil, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's start with number 0.
Number 0 is Troy D'Amico.
Pretty good. Not bad. From Chicago. He's from Chi-Town. By the way, everybody I meet from Chi-Town always loves deep dish pizza. Do you guys like deep dish? Neil, you a deep dish pizza guy?
I am not, unfortunately.
Not bad. I mean, it's not like an everyday thing, but since you go to a different city, it's like, all right, I'll mess with it. I mess with Giordano's. It's cool.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Just want to check in.
It's not my go-to, but I like pizza, so I rocks with it.
Yeah. I tell you what, prior to me going vegan last year, man, pizza guy right here. I'm with you, JT. Like, I can't eat cheese. I don't eat cheese anymore. But
dang, it's tough.
Yeah, so pizza's kind of taken out of the equation. I used to eat pizza once a week, Dewey's, every Friday.
Hey, Dewey's is fire, man.
Fire. What's your favorite, JT?
Favorite? It depends. Like Dewey's might be one of my favorites. And let's see. Toledo, Gino's is my favorite. Gino's might be my favorite overall, for real. Gino's pizza. Casano's in Dayton. I like Casano's more than Marion's, but Marion's is good too. But Casano's is my favorite.
You be messing with Goodfellas after a night out, JT?
Goodfellas is good.
Goodfellas is good.
Goodfellas is good. That should be their slogan.
Yeah, good fellas is good.
Hey, they're open until 3:00 on the weekend.
I know. I should have got some on Thursday. That's what I should have got.
Neil, if you're eating anything after like 2 a.m., I don't think you really even know what you're eating.
Nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Neil got like pepperonis like on his shirt. He's like, all right. Back to the name game. My bad. Number two, former top 25 prospect Layden Blocker. Man, so what happened?
I think he went out to Arkansas last year, and it just did not work out for him. And then the coaching change happened, and transfer portal. You know how that works, and he ended up there at Arkansas or at DePaul.
He's originally from Arkansas, right?
Yep.
Little Rock, banging in Little Rock.
Bang bang.
Yeah.
Blocker. You know, so like one of the things, and one of the reasons I not only was he, a highly recruited guy, I wanted to bring that up, but also last name Blocker. Always like when people have like the perfect basketball name, like the last name, like if your name was like Buckets or something that. Mr. Buckets. There's a kid at Turpin High School here in Cincinnati, and his name is Isaac, and his last name, can't make it up, is Hooper.
Okay.
Hooper.
Yeah, okay. That's tight.
And he's probably Turpin's best player this year. Isaac
okay.
Hooper. He was Turpin. Hooper. I think he won he might have been their leading scorer. He was there,
Okay.
I don't know, Joe Lafkus might have been their leading scorer, but Isaac Hooper was probably one of the most consistent players. But I always thought that was like a dope last name to have.
Yeah, dope. Hooper.
Like Hooper. It doesn't make sense if you play like football and your last name's Hooper.
Hooper, yeah, because it was a tight end last name Hooper.
Can't remember who
Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper.
Gotcha.
But he's a tight end, so it's not as tight. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, right? Tight end, tight. Yeah, double pause that. But it's like, if it was like baseball, it'd be like your last name was like Joe Hits.
Yep. That's the perfect.
But that'd be a dope name, though. You know what I'm saying? Like Hits. But if you played basketball, your last name was Hits, you'd be like, all right, that don't move you. You know what I mean?
By the way, and I brought this up in our group chat. Like as a parent, now we talked about like JT, you coming up with your kids' names and all that stuff, and when parents process, hey, I'm gonna name my kid this. I think a couple things happen. One, I understand you might have legacy, like my family's name is Sam. Sam, blah, blah, blah. So my kid's gonna be named. Okay, cool. But then you gotta think like, okay, if I name my child this is going to impact them in this way. You know what I mean? You have to really think. So I sent in the group chat, there is a young man who's playing, I forget what sport I sent that he played. Was he running track and field? His name's LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that? Like they did that, naming him. Why would you name your kid LeBron James? If you're not LeBron James's son, you should. You don't agree with? Am I off base, Neil?
No, you're not off base. No.
If your last name was James, if you were Neil James and you had a kid, would you be like, you know what, honey, let's name him LeBron? Let's
absolutely not.
JT?
Not. Yeah, I would not. You set up for failure. Like, come on, man. People, it's just wild. LeBron James.
LeBron James. So think about this. Everywhere you go.
That is the definition of clout chasing at its finest. If you're naming your kid after an athlete, same name, but have no correlation to him.
So imagine you're anywhere you go, and they say, "What's your name?" You go, "LeBron James." No. Okay, that's funny.
No, be serious.
Right. If you go to Starbucks or somewhere and they write your name on it, it's like your name's not LeBron James.
Yeah, for sure.
Basket by LeBron. Like
LeBron James. But I don't know. It is stupid. But you think like he ever gets like free shit on accident?
Oh, for sure.
He got that Nike endorsement check waiting.
He for sure does. But he walked like I bet you people are like, oh shit, LeBron James is gonna be
LeBron James
on the list. Then he walks in, he's like, man, you ain't LeBron.
They probably throw the shit at him like, man.
Imagine if he's hooping on his high school team and that the teams are scouting him and they see LeBron James. They're like, oh shit, we're playing against LeBron tonight. And then they get in there and it's a guy on the bench averaging 1.2 points per game in 10 minutes of.
They know it's not LeBron, but it's just if you go to stores, they're like, man, we about to meet LeBron today.
I know.
It's just a regular dude.
And I've always
like, I'm LeBron.
I've always felt like even Michael B. Jordan, like he had to put the B in there.
He had to.
But I'm just like his parents are like, why? Why did you do this?
Set him up. They set him up for failure. But it could work out. Like Michael B. Jordan, he blew up, meet a man. So
he did, but he had to put that B in there.
You got to put the B in there. If it was whatever it was, because Michael Jeffrey, so if it was Z, whatever.
Michael Jeffrey? Oh, bro.
That'd have been crazy. That'd have been too crazy. That'd have been, he never would have made it.
I'd have.
To quote Marvin Sapp. Thinking of Marvin Sapp, we ain't gonna go down that one.
Hey, we're gonna close the door.
We ain't close the doors. Everybody, all our listeners, donate $20.
There's $40,000 in here. Hey, close the door. Don't let anybody out.
Don't let nobody out. I want to see y'all hand that 20 to me too.
I heard that. I said, this man is out of his mind.
Hey, he's tripping.
He just locked church people.
He locked church people in church
and said, "You're not getting out of here until you donate 40,000." Wow.
And that's crazy, man.
Never would have made it. All right.
Like, what do you need that 40 for, man? That's about, I mean, I know he got to pay stuff, but damn.
Yeah, they need to check those books.
Them books is cooked, man. The books is cooked. What you need a 40 ball for, man? Hey, at one time, he owed somebody, man.
That's going to the building fund.
Yeah, do it. Or to save your legs fund.
All right, we better stop talking about Warren Sapp. I mean, that's Warren Sapp. Oh my God. Number five, Neil. My bad.
Number 5 is actually former teammates with Tyler Betsy. Matter of fact, Siko Kone.
I didn't know that.
Yep, they both went to St. Thomas More.
Huh. Fun fact. I'm glad I did not even know that. I'm glad you
I'm sure they're out there catching up in Vegas for the first few days.
Yep. You're on it. Number 21.
Number 21 is Theo Pierre Justin.
See, I think in this
He's got
case,
3 first names.
But not only does he have 3 first names, but if he says them right, that's just an automatic pickup line with the ladies. Like, you don't even have to really say much after that. You just say your name, just real.
He's from France too, so if you have the accent.
Yeah, if he has that French, that's a
it should be all good.
Yeah, you don't even have to say anything. You just say your name. They be like, ooh, Theo.
Yeah, it should be all good. It should be winning.
All right, so I got a couple things real quick before we jump off the name game here. Number 12 for DePaul is Jacob Meyer. Do you guys remember Jacob Meyer?
Yep, and he will not be playing on Tuesday. He is in the transfer portal.
That is correct. Played at Holy Cross here in Northern Kentucky.
Okay.
Yep, and his dad, I believe his dad played baseball for the University of Cincinnati. If I remember correctly. Okay. Yep. I'm pretty sure on that. I'm sure somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. JJ Traynor, he used to be at Louisville.
Yep, and he is also in the transfer portal.
Again, my one of my friends coached him in high school at Bardstown. James Boo Brewer, and for the old school Bearcat fans that listen to the podcast, James Boo Brewer, that's the head coach of Bardstown. He's the old point guard from Louisville when the Bearcats and Louisville used to play each other. with Felton Spencer and all the old heads.
Oh, dang, Felton Spencer. That's the OG name for you right there.
You know Felton passed away, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Felton Spencer.
R.I.P. Felton Spencer.
R.I.P. Skullduggery. All right. You always got, hey, from now on, we're just shout out Skullduggery.
You got it, definitely.
Got to. Hey, a couple things on the coaching staff. Chris Holtman, obviously, he's got big Ohio ties, being the former coach at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Jack Owens, do you guys remember where he used to coach? He's the assistant coach for DePaul.
He was at Miami for a little bit, right?
He was in Miami, Ohio, where Travis Steele is right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And he recruited around our area pretty heavily. I wonder if that's how they got Jacob Meyer to go there. If either him or Holtman recruited him at a young age. I'm not sure, but yeah, should be an interesting game. And we're going to get into shortly, Neil. You're going to break this down, but not this segment, but next segment, talk a little bit about what DePaul's roster looks like going into this game. Yikes.
Depleted.
Yes. The name game with Neil Meyer is sponsored by Oakley Greens. Oakley Greens, the ultimate spot to catch your hometown team in every big game. With 6 giant LED screens and TVs at every angle, it's more than a sports bar. It's your entertainment headquarters. All the sports, all the time, all at Oakley Greens. Located in Oakley Station next to the cinemas. Check out their website, oakleygreens.com. Let's jump into the Kenyon segment, sponsored by my man, Greg Hooden at Beachmont Toyota. This is where we cover the keys to the game. JT, let's start with you. What do the Bearcats need to do to win?
Hey, let's win the rebounding battle and shoot at least 45% from the field. You know, I know Neil's gonna give us some jewels in from the transfer portal, you know, for DePaul. So I'll let him shine the light on that. But Bearcats got to take advantage. So let's get some easy shots. I don't care where they're shooting it from. Let's make 45%.
Neil, he threw it right up, lobbed it up to you.
Yeah, I'm right there with JT. Obviously, I would like
Neil, in volleyball, what do they call that when you set up for the guy to spike it? What's it?
An assist. Same thing as basketball.
An assist. So JT's giving you that assist. What position? You coach volleyball, right?
Yep.
Why don't you tell everybody real quick about, you know, Oak Hills volleyball?
Yeah. So we were coming off I believe we were 4-17 last year. We had some things pop up, so we weren't really able to get to that full potential. But year 2 underway over there, and we're off to the best start since 2013. So going to be 8-1 heading into, we got Baden tomorrow and then kick off Lakota East for conference play on Tuesday. But overall, we're 8-1, riding a 7-game win streak. So they let us get hot for the first time in a while. So team's moving, gelling, clicking at the right time. So it's been a fun season so far.
Good to hear, man. Good luck the rest of the way on that.
Yep, absolutely.
So why don't you go ahead, Neil? Talk about this roster that DePaul has.
Yeah, this DePaul roster is actually depleted. It sounds like they're going to have 7 scholarship guys available.
Yeah.
And overall, they're losing a lot of significant players in the transfer portal. One in which we mentioned was Jacob Meyer, and he was the team's 3rd leading scorer, averaging nearly 9 points a game. This was a guy who was able to really light it up at Coastal Carolina before making that jump to DePaul this past season in the transfer portal. But overall, they're also going to be without another guard in Connor Enright, who is averaging 7.5 points per game, 6.2 assists per game, and 3 rebounds. He led the team in 30 minutes. He elected to hit the transfer portal as well. So overall, those are the 2 big-time guys in the portal for them, and then J.J. Traynor as well, like we mentioned. And then they have a guy named David Thomas that is also in the portal. So they have 4 guys in there, and then probably some walk-ons in there as well. So it's going to be a depleted roster, and guys are going to see significant extended minutes for DePaul as they look to make this run for some cash in the Crown Tournament. So it's going to be interesting, but most of their key veteran players, N.J. Benson, C.J. Gunn, Layden Blocker, they all already announced their return for next season. out in Chicago for DePaul. So that's huge news for them, the DePaul team. But overall, this is a team that is really, really depleted right now. And if I'm Cincinnati, I'm looking to establish that ball inside and kind of take advantage of this team being so depleted.
I'm gonna spare you on that one. Well, go ahead, keep cooking.
Pause it.
He said we're gonna establish. All right, go ahead, keep going.
But overall, I would like to see them go inside. Dylan Mitchell, Aziz Bandego, AP. Pause. Correct. But overall, get those three guys as many touches in the paint as you can, right? I mean, Cincinnati, you know what's going to happen. Sounds like we're going to have a full roster out there, which is huge news for them. I know, especially when you have a total of $300,000 on the line. So great to see that they're going to have everybody for this tournament. But this is a DePaul team that's so shorthanded. This could be a game that could get out of hand if Cincinnati does all the things right.
The Kenyon segment is sponsored by Greg Hooden and Beachmont Toyota. Yeah, listen, 7 scholarship guys. My whole thing, the keys to the game for the Bearcats is, these players on the Bearcat team, with whoever's coming back for next year, whoever's getting in the portal, you could look at the Crown as an opportunity to kind of showcase what you can do. And also the champion gets $300,000 split between the 15 guys, right? $300,000, right? Split between 15 guys. Hey man, go play ball, go get that money. I don't know if you can be more motivated than that. So I know me, if I was a walk on, I'd be like, hey, starters, y'all got to step it up.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, get with it.
I need some of that money, bro.
Come on.
Yeah,
I heard count my money. All right, man.
No doubt.
Need this now.
Yeah, hopefully the guys come out, motivated. And one thing I want to say is, I talked about that gap between when the Big 12 tournament ended for the Bearcats losing to Iowa State, and then now April 1st, that first game. That's a lot of time off. Did they have time? Anybody that was injured to heal, to kind of find a better mental space, after so many losses? Maybe they're, excited to play. It's going to be very interesting to see the motivation the Bearcat players have. Because listen, the Crown's new, right? This is the first year for the Crown.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So it's new. We're not an NCAA tournament, so you just never know how motivated guys are. Is UC on spring break yet?
They had it last week, but it's also too worth noting too, Meach, that 5 of the 8 teams or 5 of the 16 teams in the Crown tournament come from the Big 12, right? And the Big 12 just came off a gauntlet of a season when they had to play 20 conference games compared to everybody else playing 18. So some of these guys haven't had a bye week since beginning of December, roughly mid-December. So it was kind of nice to see some of these teams kind of fully get healthy, take some time off, but unlike what they couldn't have done during the actual season. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I hope they're ready to play. And I'm telling you now, it would not be a good look to see the Bearcats come out flat and lose to a DePaul team that only has 7 guys. That would not be a good look. Now, quickly, if we're fortunate enough to win versus DePaul, potentially who's our next
winner of Oregon State and UCF and a depleted UCF team? Because it sounds like they're in a similar situation like DePaul, where they would only have about 7 scholarship guys.
Man, I hope UC wins and plays Oregon State. One of my friends, his son actually is a starter for Oregon State, so I would like to see that. That'd be kind of cool to watch my buddy's kid out there playing. So we'll see. We'll see if these guys are ready to win the Crown and get that money. The Kenyon segment, Keys to the Game, was sponsored by Greg Hooden and Beachmont Toyota. Come see fellow Bearcat Greg Hooden and Beachmont Toyota for all your new and pre-owned Toyota needs. Look for Greg Hooden on Instagram and Twitter at Cincy Greg Hooden. Hooden is spelled Hoodin, or come see Greg at Beachmont Toyota. Always ready to help our Bearcat family get into a new Toyota. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. The Twyman segment is sponsored by Visionary Cleaners. This is where we cover hot topics. Now, I mentioned this before, the portal. I'm hearing I think last year there were 2,100 players in the portal. I'm hearing this year they're going to beat that by a lot. There's going to be more than 2,100 players in the portal, which is crazy to me because as these kids get in the portal, they're going to be, I don't know how many. Neil, you might know the statistics off the top of your head because you're better than that, better in that than I am. But how many, let's say 2,100 were in the portal last year, how many didn't find a landing spot?
Probably close to 60%.
I mean, that's crazy. So if there are, let's say 2,700 in this year, there's so many kids that aren't going to find a landing spot, which is really sad and kind of disappointing in a lot of ways. But
yeah,
with that being said, JT, the hot topic is for this Bearcat roster this season, who do you envision entering the transfer portal from the Bearcats team?
Man, all right. So, all right, I'm gonna run off my list. I feel like Arrington. I wouldn't be shocked to see Arrington Page in the transfer portal.
I would agree, 100.
Yep.
Depending on how Rayvon Griffith feels, I feel like it's high possibility he could be in the transfer portal. I would definitely love for him to stay. But we'll see. And then, CJ Anthony, he's a walk-on, but everybody knows he's going to be in the transfer portal.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be, that's on the menu. And then I'll go with my last person. I'll say Tyler Betsy. I feel like he's coin flip, but I don't think the season went like kind of how he kind of envisioned, So I think it could be a possibility that maybe, it's how it goes. Might think greener pastures on the other side. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be shocked if those 4 hit the portal, after the season is over.
Pretty solid. Neil?
Yeah, I'm right there with JT on those 4 guys. I think Tyler Betsy was kind of envisioning what maybe a bigger role for this team, and it might not be surprising to kind of see him jump in the portal, obviously, depending on what happens out in Las Vegas. Everybody knows that CJ Anthony is probably going to be in the transfer portal after Wes Miller came out and announced that they were redshirting him because they know that he is good enough to play at other schools. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Arrington Page as well, because obviously you look at what Cincinnati is potentially getting back in the additions of Tyler McKinley back fully healthy. Arrington Page didn't really live up to the expectations that Cincinnati had for him this season. And it also depends on what Dylan Mitchell does. Does Dylan Mitchell come back? Whatever might happen. But Arrington Page would definitely be someone that wouldn't be so surprising to kind of maybe see the transfer portal or test the waters in that one. But for me, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Rayvon Griffith elects to do, right? He's a hometown kid. You saw what he was able to do when he got on the court. He made a big impact in many ways. And honestly, I know a lot of fans wanted to see him out there more often. And once he got his opportunity, I thought he really made an impact, but he just wasn't able to stay on the court as much as we had hoped. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. And then everybody kind of knows the wild card, whether that's Jizzle James, knowing that Houston offered him in the transfer portal last year. Houston was one of the schools that came calling. He elected to stay there. It's going to be interesting to see how does he approach that in year 2 compared to year 1.
The Twyman segment is sponsored by Visionary Cleaners. JT, I don't think we talked about Dan, did we? Skillings?
No, we didn't.
You want to take that?
Yeah, I think. I mean, he's a guy that. I mean, you hear stuff all the time now, but honestly, I wouldn't. I think if he has a strong showing in the Crown, honestly, I think Dan probably is more likely to stay. I just think they have like a good connection, and that stuff can change. Who knows, right? People come calling and they offer X, Y, Z, and you only offer me A, B, C, then you kind of have to make a decision, right? But honestly, I think Dan. I'm leaning more towards Dan being a Bearcat next year, even though it's probably not a popular opinion because how he played this year. But I just think he's connected to Wes, man. I think they have a connection, and I just think I would bet if I was betting right now, I would bet more on him staying than him leaving personally.
Yeah, and if I'll piggyback on that too, JT, I think in regards to Dan Skillings, too, it's worth noting that Dan Skillings was Wes Miller's first big-time recruit once Wes Miller took the Cincinnati job. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have seen the relationship on and off the court grow over the few years. I know this year wasn't the year everyone anticipated for Dan, but also people kind of have to consider the injury probably played a big factor in that, right? He missed quite a bit of time with the knee injury, and that's a hard mental aspect to kind of jump over once it's a severe injury like that and something that probably could have been more serious, but finally started getting back to his old self towards the end of the season in terms of his athletic, his rebounding, his scoring abilities. We saw flashes of it. But now that he's fully healthy and he's had some time off here in the last 3 weeks, it's going to be interesting. But I'm with you, JT. If I was a betting man, I would be betting that Dan Skillings will be a part of this Cincinnati team next year.
Yeah, the only couple of things I like to throw in there is Day has an extra year now, right?
Yeah.
Hickman filed an appeal. I don't know if that'll go through, and he'll be back. Obviously, Tyler McKinley will be here next year. I think if Rayvon hears what he likes from the Bearcat staff in terms of his role and, them being honest, saying, hey, we see you doing this, you'll have an honest shot at getting this many minutes. I could see Ray wanting to stay, especially to play with Tyler, one of his best friends.
Yeah.
Playing into the hometown hero thing too as well. Dylan Mitchell, you guys touched upon the other guys already, and I agree with those. Dylan Mitchell to me is that, I think it's kind of 50-50 with him. I just don't feel like there's a unique attachment to Dylan Mitchell in Bearcat basketball or the city of Cincinnati. Now, you talked about Dan, like Dan Skillings has, I think, some attachment to our city now and in the West. And I think Dylan Mitchell is a fantastic young man. You hear him at the press conferences. He says the right things. I think he's about the right things. But let's just be honest. It's 2025 and the bag talks, period.
Yeah.
And if somebody sees, value in him, watching him this year and offers him a bigger bag, he could go packing. So I'm going to say it like this. If someone said, hey, Dylan Mitchell's staying in Cincinnati, I'd go, I can see that. If someone said, hey, Dylan's in the portal, I'd go, I can see that. So he'd be the only other one. So be interested to see. What's your guys' prediction? So do you think right after the Crown, we're going to start seeing whoever it is that's going to get in the portal jump in like right after the Crown, or you think they'll give it a couple days?
I think they'll go right after, due to the fact that with how the transfer portal is working. And as of Friday, I should have mentioned this earlier, as of Friday, between Division I and Division II, there is 2,500 basketball players in the transfer portal on the men's side of things. 2,500. So you don't really want to waste much time following the Crown tournament. If you're going to enter it, you're going to enter it. I think people aren't going to wait much longer to go in there, find their potential next home if they're going to enter the portal, just due to how late it is and people already have a head start on the process compared to what teams like Cincinnati and the teams in the Crown have, and then the teams that are still playing in the Final Four.
JT?
My bad.
Get that yawn out,
for sure.
Get that yawn out.
Man. I know. But they definitely, I wouldn't be shocked if as soon as they're done, like literally if they win or whenever they lose or if they win it all, within an hour, it's going to be one or two in the portal, at least. And I would say within 12 hours, the main people that are like, hey, I'm out, are going to be out. I don't think it's going to be a long delay because, nobody has went in before the Crown started. So,
true.
Respect to, Wes and the crew to be able to keep them locked in. They got the whole team. So, it's something that's keeping those young men that want to play and, not just fully, even that they dip, it's keeping them like, hey, we're going to finish this thing out. So, but yeah, once that final whistle blows, pause, they're going to be out of there, buddy. They're out of there in a quick, fast, and a hurry. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to get to it. They're going to try to get to it ASAP. So
I think you make a good point, though, JT. You've got to give this staff credit. You talked about UCF, I believe, Neil. We talked about DePaul.
Yeah.
So their rosters are depleted from all of these kids in the portal that are playing in the Crown. And then you've got UC who's playing in the Crown. And they've got guys that most likely will be in the portal, but they're playing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what these coaches have said.
Yeah.
You got to give them credit for getting all these kids in an era where, I mean, most young men would have gotten the portal and said, F the Crown.
Yeah, F the Crown. You know what I mean? So you got to respect it. Like that with the culture they're building on that, like that's huge. Just hopefully, you know, and Gas probably like, hey, let's get some more money. You got a chance to get some more money, like we talked about earlier. So it's right there in front of you. So, but yeah, the other teams are depleted, and the Bearcats aren't. So you know that has to mean something. But yeah, they definitely hitting that portal, buddy. So as soon as that last that whistle blows, and as soon as that end, it's gonna be people that before the presser gonna hit. It's gonna be like, thank you.
What was that? That kid from Vanderbilt who entered like 9 minutes after they lost in the SEC tournament. He said,
I want to thank Bearcat Nation. I want to thank Bearcat Nation, the coaching staff, and everybody. But my time, I got 3 years of eligibility remaining. I got 2 years of eligibility remaining. You know how that go.
The Instagram post is ready to go.
Yeah, it's ready to go. The pictures already, everything's
loaded. Caption.
It's loaded. It's in the draft right now. It's in the phone. Believe that.
Oh man. Different times, brother. Different times, man. But hey, you know what? It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's college athletics. You know, this is what it's like in 2025. You know, and I'm gonna leave on this, and we're gonna dive into this when the season's over. But obviously, you the portal is so hit or miss, and sometimes you think you've got a hit and you don't. Sometimes you think you miss and you've got a hit. So my hope is that next year, you know, the Bearcats have that home run. Out of the portal, because if not, there'll be some changes. Be
some drastic changes, man. So yeah, I mean, it's on the menu. You gotta win, man. Gotta win. So don't win, gets a little hairy. So I'm hoping, you know, every pickup is a positive pickup, and everybody fits in the system well, and then the Bearcats are freaking 20-5 next year, 25-5 next year.
Yep. Well, they say sports has a short menu. It's wins and losses. That's it. We need more wins next year.
For sure.
The Twyman segment is sponsored by Visionary Cleaners. Visionary Cleaners is a locally owned company by former Bearcat student athletes. They specialize in high-quality commercial cleaning of businesses, apartments, and pre- and post-construction cleans. They can be reached at 513-388-7816 or contacted online at visionarycleaners.com. Fellas, this concludes another great podcast. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Donahue Accounting Services, Smart Dog Solutions, Greg Hood and Beachmont Toyota, Visionary Cleaners, Purple Monkey Project, and Oakley Greens. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. For friendly expert tax advice whenever you need it, come to Donahue Accounting Services, a leading accounting firm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our top-notch accountants strive to help resolve all your financial and tax issues. Call Donahue Accounting Services today for a free consultation at 513-528-3982 or visit online at donahueaccountingservice.com. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. Go Bearcats.